Hi, in this video we'll be talking about interning. First, let's create two variables and check their identities. A equals 5, B equals 5. Now ID of A and ID of B. Well, turns out these two identities are the same, which means A and B are referencing the same object. How about this? A equals -3, B equals -3, and now the two identities are the same again. So A and B are referencing the same object. How about strings? A equals help, B equals help, and the two identities are the same. So seems to work too. And now let's try this. A equals 300, B equals 300, and the two identities, well, different. This time, the two identities are different. Well, surprise! Although we assign the same value to A and B, just like before, this time the ID function gives us different results, which means we have two different objects here, although they both have the same value. So here A and B are referencing two different objects. So what's going on? In the first couple of examples, we had the same results from the ID function, and now we have different results. Before I explain this, let's try one more example, this time with a string. A equals help exclamation point, B equals help exclamation point, and the two IDs. So different. Again, we have two separate objects, both with the same value of help exclamation point. So why do we sometimes have the same results from the ID function and sometimes not? Or in other words, why do our A and B variables sometimes reference the same object and on other occasions two individual objects with the same value? Well, this is because of interning, which is the topic of this video. When interning works, multiple variables can reference the same object in memory. Let's have a look at the following example. A equals 200, B equals 200, C equals 200. And now the identities, ID of A, ID of B, ID of C, and also ID of this object itself, of 200, of this integer. And as we can see, the IDs are identical, which means A, B, and C are referencing the same object, the integer 200. In this example, interning works. This is why we have one object which is referenced by a couple of variables. And now let's have a look at an example, a very similar example, when interning doesn't work. A equals 400, B equals 400, C equals 400. And now let's print the identities of A, B, C and of the number 400 itself. Well, now as we can see, these values are different. Each of them is different. So this means that each variable is referencing a different separate object. So in this example, interning does work. In this example, interning doesn't work. So when is interning actually used? Interning is used to save memory. it works for integers ranging between -5 and 255, and for strings without white spaces and special characters. In other cases, if we create another variable with the same value, a new object is created and assigned to the new variable. And now you know why it worked for the integer 200 but not for the integer 400. It's because 400 is beyond the range between -5 and 255, but 200 is within this range. You also know why it worked for help here, but it didn't work for help with an exclamation point. This is because in the latter case there is a special character. So there's no interning. Well, interning doesn't work with white spaces either. Have a look at this. A equals setup. B equals setup. And now the ID of A and B identical. So here interning works because we have a string without any special characters and without white spaces. But we can change this like so. A equals setup with a white space. B equals setup with a white space. And now the IDs are different. So this time interning doesn't work because of this white space. So this is how interning works. It's sort of caching used to save memory. Okay, that's it for this video. If you like it, a thumbs up would be great. Also, make sure to subscribe for future videos. If you want to leave a comment or ask a question, you're welcome to do so. Thanks for watching.